to talk specifically about 1923 today, which stars Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. Takes place in Montana. It is the Dutton family, which of course is from Yellowstone, which is present day, in 1883, which precedes this, but specifically we'll start in 1923. And I'm going to be honest with you. It started a little slow for me. And then, holy cow, boom, I'm in. So that's my opening statement on 1923.
Yeah, and we've mentioned Taylor Sheridan before.
Sure.
Tulsa King, Yellowstone, and Hell or High Water, for God's sake.
Right.
Great movie.
Great movie.
He is. We've talked Scott Frank. Between him and Scott Frank, two of the best writers in Hollywood, no question about it. And people are just in awe. And all you have to know is Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren are in 1923. They want to be in his stuff, just like in 1883 you had Billy Bob Thornton, Tom Hanks, Rita Wilson all appearing because he's the best. I mean, Tom Hanks' part was small, so was Billy Bob Thornton's, but they wanted to be in it because this guy is unbelievable. I love 1923. I loved 1883, except for the ending. I won't ruin it for anybody. But I love 1923, and there's only 4 episodes out now. Everybody knows.
Right.
February 5th. The rest are coming out, and I can't wait.
Well, I'm one shy. I just watched the 3rd today, so I still have 1 more to go. But boy, when this train gets rolling, does it get rolling? And here's the situation for those who haven't watched it: is the Dutton family in 1923, they run the ranch, and there's a battle going on between the sheep herders and the cattlemen. And at first I went, okay, really? Is this what it is? And yes, that's what it is. And it turns into a gang war. So what Sheridan has done has basically taken the
literally over grass.
Over grass. That's right, because there's a drought and there's shortage on grass, and Harrison Ford wants his herd of cattle to get the grass, which is on his land.
His land.
In the mountains, his land. And the sheep herders, which the guy, Jerome Flynn, plays brilliantly.
Yeah, great.
Brilliantly, right? And there's really, I was going to call him the villain.
Banner Creighton is his name.
Banner Creighton is his name.
Scottish.
And he's great. And it's like, but like, technically, I guess you would say that he's the antagonist. But is he? You have it's the Wild Wild West, and you have 2 factions. One guy wants to feed his sheep. The other guy wants to feed the cattle, but the cattle owner owns the land. The sheep guy puts his sheep on his land, and boom, all hell breaks loose. It's a turf war. It's a turf war. So you could take West Side Story, you could take The Godfather, all of those themes, and what Sheridan has done has put it in Montana in 1923, and it works.
Yeah, the other thing I tell people is, every time you bring up Yellowstone, you get one of 2 reactions. You get the, I love it, I've seen every episode, can't wait. And then you get the other, well, I watched a couple seasons, then I've kind of stopped. And so if you mention 1883 or 1923, they go like, oh, well, I haven't finished Yellowstone. You don't have to watch Yellowstone to watch these. Absolutely not. You can watch 1883 standalone. You can watch 1923 standalone. It's nice to know that these are the people who came before the Kevin Costner John Dutton, who's John Dutton III, I believe. And that's nice, but you don't need to know that. And frankly, it's hard to keep track. I mean, I have to go on the computer to say, wait a minute now, how are they related to the Kevin Costner John Dutton? Because it isn't that important. I mean, it's nice if you reflect back, but to the story, not important at all.
So, but I was trying to figure it out.
That's the beauty of this.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But I was trying to figure it out. So is Harrison Ford, is he Kevin Costner's grandfather?
No, he's the brother of Harrison Ford's great-grandfather, of Kevin Costner's grandfather. He's the great-grandfather of Kevin Costner's character.
Got it. Okay, so there we go.
I believe that's it.
Now we have that settled.
He's the uncle. Harrison Ford's character, Jacob Dutton, is the uncle who came with Kara, who's Helen Mirren, to take care of John Dutton II's kids.
Okay. So let's talk about the acting. Okay. So while I am a huge Harrison Ford fan, and I think that Harrison Ford is one of the greatest movie stars of our time, I feel that Helen Mirren is the anchor of this.
I wish I could argue with you, but when I told my wife about this, I said, Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. He's what you expect. You
Right.
get what you expect. Helen Mirren is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Now she doesn't have to play an American, right? Because she's
Right.
from, I believe, Ireland.
Ireland.
In the show, she's unbelievable. And again, I can't emphasize enough. She wanted to do this part, and you can see why. She's just, uh, you know, the character is so rich. The dialogue is so fantastic, and she kills it. She just kills it.
And she knows how to shoot a gun.
She knows how to shoot, which you learn very early on, by the way.
Right.
In the
You
first
do.
season,
You do learn early on.
Yeah.
What I enjoy about this is the three-prong process of this. So not only is there the story of the Dutton family, and as they have the grass war with the sheep herders, which really works, but then they have a son or a nephew. That part I haven't figured out yet. But Brendan Sklenar is the actor who plays Spencer Dutton.
Fantastic.
Who is really, I mean, I thought of Ernest Hemingway because he is a veteran of World War I, and he's in Africa as the Dutton family is fighting this war against Banner Creighton's gang. He's in Africa, and he's basically a professional hunter. So I thought of Hemingway, right?
With PTSD.
Yes, with PTSD.
Before they had a term for it.
Right. Yes, he has PTSD. And he meets, the love of his life, which I thought at first there was a little bit of a leap, but it works.
No, you're right. At first, she walks up to him at a bar and she's engaged. But he pulls it off so beautifully. And you're thinking, how the hell does Taylor Sheridan write a romance? And he kills it with this, I think. He kills it.
Yeah, because Spencer Dutton, the young man that's going to be coming home to help out with the family ranch in Africa, who's a professional hunter killing animals for a living, meets this girl at a bar who's at her engagement party, and he wins her over, and she leaves with him.
He doesn't even try to win her over. She just falls in love with him.
She just falls in love with him. And you get it, though. It was a throwback, Drew. It was like this dude, Brendan Sklenar, because I never heard of him. This dude is the next it guy.
Oh,
he's the next it guy.
Another thing I was going to say, he's been in stuff, nothing huge. You wouldn't remember him. You wouldn't see him. He's going to come out of this huge. He's phenomenal. He's very talented.
He's very talented.
The love interest is, you're guys, you want to see shoot 'em up, everything, and you see shoot 'em up. But the love story is amazing. So women are going to love this.
Well,
it's really amazing.
Well, he's your typical movie star where guys want to hang out with him or be with him, and women want to sleep with him. I mean, that's what he is, and he's damaged. He's damaged.
And his love interest, Alexandra, whatever her name was, Alex. She's such a great role, and she plays it so well. And you can see her. And this is Taylor Sheridan again. He writes her so that she's going to fit in with the Dutton family.
Oh yeah,
she's made for the Dutton family. And you wouldn't
she's a young, she's a young Helen Mirren.
Yeah. It really is. I hate to be so glowing about stuff, and I want to, you want to criticize shit. If I'm going to criticize anything, it's my normal take with Harrison Ford. I love the guy, but he can overact with the best of them.
And he does a little bit here.
There's a lot of overacting. Like, this is how I should probably play a Montana guy who owns a ranch.
Well, the accent.
Costner doesn't do that, which is amazing.
Well, yeah. The accent's a little overdone by Ford,
and just the whole physical thing. But I love him. I love the guy. How can you not love him?
No, he's a movie star.
He's a movie star, and that's what you expect. But I'm telling you that Brendan Sklenar, whatever how you pronounce his name, just killer.
He's going to be
huge. And that's what everybody's waiting for, is with him to get to Montana.
Right. But now I looked him up. There is a show. Let's see if you know. There was a show that we reviewed here. One of the first ones that he was in. Do you know?
Godless?
Nope.
Seen Godless?
Nope. I saw it on his IMDb and I
Queen's
went,
Gambit?
no. He played Burt Reynolds in The Offer.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, if you have watched The Offer, people, and you need to, at the end, there's a scene where they're talking about Burt Reynolds to do, oh, what was the movie? Logan's Run?
No, Longest Yard.
Longest Yard. The Longest Yard. That's right. And he plays Burt Reynolds in the meeting.
Not a huge part.
Not a huge part.
Too, right? You know,
But
no,
this
it's
guy,
nothing.
this guy is going to explode. Also, Jerome Flynn, who's been in, when you look at his IMDb page, he's been in a ton of things in Britain.
Oh, I recognized him right away, but I couldn't tell you what I knew him from, but I recognized him right away.
Yeah, I mean, he's terrific. He's really good. So then there's the other angle on this that I've only seen 3 episodes, so I don't know. Maybe the 4th one there's more.
Oh yes,
now, there's a subplot.
You're going where I think you're going.
The convent.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay, now let me set this up. Okay, so all of a sudden they cut away from the Dutton family and the ranch. They cut away from Spencer Dutton, who's hunting animals in Africa, and then we go to this convent where the nuns are there, and it is what you think. It is brutal, and they are teaching young women to be proper.
Not just young women,
Native
American women who've been taken from their families to the Catholic boarding school in the middle of East Jesus, and it is brutal to watch.
It is painful to watch.
Brutal to watch.
But I'll tell you, man, the acting that goes on in these scenes by these
Anima
actors,
Neves, I think is her name. She plays Tiona Rainwater, the abused girl. Well, they're all abused, but she's the one they focus on, and she's the most abused. She is fantastic.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, the thing for me is I found, like, I think the main plot is the ranch and the 2 subplots, Africa and.
Well, how are they going to converge is what you want to know.
Well, I found the subplots as interesting, if not more, than the ranch.
Well, and here's what happens with subplots, as I used to teach. They converge with the main plot at some point, and it all connects. And this is going to do it. I don't know when or how.
Well,
this is one of those classic cases, kind of like the movie Unforgiven, when the bad guy is the good guy, or, you know, Dances with Wolves, the bad guy is the good guy. You know, it's the Indians you're cheering for, not the cavalry. Here, you're cheering for the Native American, and you want to kill the nuns. I mean, I literally want to kill those nuns.
Oh, they're unbelievable. They're brutal. I mean, they're terrible. And then you just understand, and we've heard somewhat of the injustices of how we took the land from the Native Americans, but Sheridan really puts it out there where it's like, this was their land.
He did in 1883 as well.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at it and you go, oh my God, it's brutal how they would.
I'll tell you, anybody who's not watched this yet, brace yourself for the nun and, you know, Tiona scenes, because
it's hard.
I mean, we all heard about nuns slapping hands with the ruler because you didn't recite, you know, the alphabet or whatever. It starts as that. It's much worse.
Oh, it gets much worse. And you're just rooting for this kid. You're rooting for her to bust out, man.
Well, yeah. You haven't seen episode 4. Just hang in there.
Well, what I could foreshadow seeing how Spencer Dutton comes back from Africa and how he fits in with the family and how his bride fits in. But I have no idea where the storyline, where the convent is going. No clue.
Can't wait, because it's going to be great. Yeah, it's just, you got to brace yourself for that. And I love the scene, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, of how Spencer discovers that he needs to go home, and he really needs to go home. He doesn't want to go home. His plan is never to go home, I think. But he wants to go. He has to go home now. And the way they do it is so clever, so amazingly clever, that I don't think you've seen it yet. Because, you know, I believe it's in the 4th episode.
Well, that's interesting, because at the end of the 3rd episode, you wonder how it's going to happen, because it's 1923. Without giving it away, he must come home. how do they get word to the guy? I mean, it's not like they're not going to text them. You know, I mean, so
You'll find out, and it's
and
it's an unbelievable scene, and it
well,
makes sense.
well, that's the thing. I mean, and that is hard to do. I mean, when you're doing a screenplay present day, you have so many ways of communication. You have social media, you have Zoom. I mean, it's easy to get word to somebody. I mean, you can use it as a device. You know, it also makes
It
it
has
harder.
to make sense in this context, and it does, and it's so clever, and they don't know what's coming.
Right.
It's really well done.
The other thing I want to touch on with this is there are great parts for older actors now with streaming, and I think this is an example of it. Now, you
Let me
said
stop
that
you there. Here's the reason why. Because Hollywood in the pre-streaming days had to chase young audiences. So everything was young. Old people went to the movies, but they wanted, the target audience was the young, because they'd go in a group and they'd buy all the food and soda and stuff, which made the exhibitors, the theater owners,
right.
money to keep the lights on. They don't need that anymore, because the streamers are the studio, the distributor, and the exhibitor, right? They're everybody. Before it was all segregated and they had to do business with each other. Now it's Paramount Plus. It's the studio that makes it, distributes it on its own platform, and exhibits it.
Well,
meaning it's on Sunday nights.
Sure.
And so now old people stream, young people stream. It doesn't matter. You just want to put content out there, and you want to put good content out there. And
right, which I think when you take a look at it, I don't know how many offers Harrison Ford is getting lately. I mean, he's okay. He's going to be in Indiana Jones 8 or whatever, or if they ever bring back Star Wars, or he has these recurring roles. But this is a great venue for older actors who obviously still have game, Helen Mirren included.
Look at Helen Mirren, Harrison Ford, Kevin Costner. Let's go
Kevin
back to
Costner. Talk about being reborn.
Reborn.
Because his career.
And then let's go to Tulsa King, Stallone.
I
mean, this is what Sheridan's doing, and people like us are watching it. And I'm not 40. God, I wish I was. But it's thank God. I hate to say it, thank God for streaming.
Yeah.
People like Spielberg hate it, but guess what? He's going to have to do it.
Well, right. And you know what? If people still want to go to the movies and have the experience of a night out, they can. I still believe that is going to be an option and a venue like going to an amusement park. Is it going to be like it once was?
Or going to the theater in New York City or any other, London. The theater was supposed to be dead. It didn't completely die. It still survives. It still exists.
But just not like it once did.
It's not the predominant form of storytelling.
No, it's not. All right.
And Hollywood movies are not the predominant form of storytelling. Streaming is.
Right. Well, anyways, Drew, great show. Great job. I'm going to give a little tease. Drew and I will also be putting out on the YouTube channel the top 5 Harrison Ford movies of all time.
Our top 5.
Our
the
top 5.
It's not, this isn't scientifically done. This is our top 5.
Well, yeah, is there any? It's the only one that matters. But Giuliano.
By the way, I got to say one more thing.
What?
This is amazing to me when I found it out. Each individual episode of, I think it was 1883, and I don't know if it's 1923, cost between $30 and $35 million.
Each episode.
Yeah.
I believe it.
8 episodes, we're talking over 200, probably
$200
million.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you.
They'll get that money back.
Oh, they're totally getting their money back. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I also find it interesting that it's an MTV Studios production.
Yeah.
Which is all part of Paramount too. But when you take a look at the cinematography, especially of the African scenes, I mean, it's obvious. For the Africa part, they didn't go shoot this in Georgia somewhere. I mean,
no, it's like 1883. It's this CinemaScope stuff that you used to see in the old movies. It's great.
Money well spent. All right, for Giuliano, I'm Gary Tanguay. Thanks for watching Screentime, movie streaming, and everything in between. We'll see you next time.